Everyone, would you believe it if your kind grandmother was once a legendary agent who paralyzed an enemy nation with a single pistol and a cipher? When we learn history, we only remember the names of generals in flashy uniforms, but the people who truly ended the wars were nameless, women who disappeared into the shadows, unnoticed. They lived disguised as ordinary wives and mothers, but at the moment of their passing, they left a brief yet intense warning to the world. Today, I am going to reveal the records of the true guardians who are not written in any history book in the world, but who made us who we are at this moment, why they had to remain silent until old age, and what the bone-chilling last message they left behind was, will be revealed right now. For example, what if an elderly person, outwardly spending a peaceful retirement, knitting, actually still carries in their mind the encryption system that decided the fate of tens of thousands? If you watch this video to the end, you will never see the elders around us the same way again. Subscribe and like too, together. Protect the noble legacy of these nameless heroes. When the war ended and peace arrived, countless heroes returned amidst cheers, receiving medals. But for the female agents, what was allowed was not a medal, but eternal silence. In the conservative social atmosphere of the time, their achievements were often deleted from records or disguised under the names of male superiors. Even the state denied them, saying, "Your existence was never there from the beginning." Imagine living for decades, cooking in the kitchen and raising children, aging into just an ordinary grandmother next door, burying the sacrifice of their passionate youth deep in their hearts. The lonely hours spent alone caressing an old medal, unable to bring themselves to say, "I was actually a spy," even while having tea with friends. They seem to disappear into the annals of history. But the single word these elderly women uttered just before their death struck hard at the minds of modern people addicted to peace. Consider the case of Grandma Emily, who worked as a librarian all her life in a small town in Virginia, USA. Her story shocked the world. After she passed away, an old diary found in her closet contained the full record of her time as a key agent who decrypted German codes during World War II. Emily's last warning, at the age of 90, was this: "The enemy always comes with the most peaceful face." She warned with a bleeding heart about modern people, lost in the convenience of technology and false peace, failing to perceive real dangers. For instance, even from a small gesture of a stranger she happened to meet at the supermarket, she would read patterns of past assassins. In the eyes of an ordinary grandmother, the world was still a battlefield. The words she repeated to those around her just before her death, "Always question and think for yourself," were the most powerful survival directive. A spy who had to live in hiding all her life could leave to future generations. Even more shocking is the story of Grandma Sophia, a comrade of the female aviators known as the Night Witches in Europe. She lived her entire life as a poor painter, but underneath her canvases, maps with escape routes were always hidden. Before her death, she told her children, "What we risked our lives to protect was not the grand name of a nation, but the small right of individuals to choose their own lives." She deeply warned against modern society devolving into cogs of a giant system, abandoning their own thoughts. Imagine those moments of terror in the pitch-black night, flying silently over enemy lines with engines off, having to rely only on her own senses. She left a will saying, "Never be tamed." This was the final roar of a hero who had lived her entire life in hiding, faithfully maintaining her beliefs, directed at us who live like modern slaves. Psychologically, their silence demonstrates the pinnacle of internal locus of control, the powerful mental strength to maintain one's values without external recognition or praise, becomes even more robust in old age. According to brain science, those who have overcome crises while hiding their identities for a long time develop much more sophisticated frontal lobe judgment than ordinary people. This is why the warnings left by these nameless heroes are not just elderly nagging, but strategic foresight, condensed from high-level intuition and experience. They read patterns we cannot see and smell approaching storms first. This is also why criminal organizations and dictators fear these elders who see through to the essence the most. So, what should we learn from these erased heroes? First, never stop trying to see the other side of history. We must listen to the voices of sacrifice, hidden behind brilliant victory reports. Second, respect the elders around you. The years they endured were a grand espionage war in themselves, a record of victory. Third, as their last warning suggests, become an awakened individual. Do not let anyone think for you. Cultivate the power to judge for yourself. That is the core of the freedom that nameless heroes so desperately wanted to protect. For example, try listening to your parents' or grandmother's old stories today. Within those ordinary tales, there might be profound wisdom that could change your life. True heroes are not in the spotlight. They protect you when you feel most at ease. I hope the stories of the nameless female agents in history introduced today have resonated deeply with you. While we may never know their names, the freedom and warnings they fought for must live on in our hearts. If this story awakened your dormant instincts, please share it with your loved ones. Remembering the value of forgotten heroes is the only way we can repay the peaceful present. If you wish to learn more hidden truths and elderly wisdom, please subscribe.